Hello, Mladen Miljanovic.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, and you?
Very well, thank you very much.
So let's start with the first question. Could you define the notion of individual and collective trauma and how this concept has inspired your art so far?
Well, what I can say at the beginning is maybe that I will try to explain this difference notion between individual and collective trauma on the basis of realized works, because my special focus for those issues was in my mostly beginning works in 2006 and 2007. For example, in 2005, during my voluntary work in Association of Disabled People, it was actually the association which all persons were like lost body parts during the conflict, war conflict in Bosnia. So the what we actually recognized and what I conclude during a few years of working therapeutic works with them, learning them to paint, make sculpture, and so on. I found out that these directly traumatized persons were like not even aware about trauma, what they pass, because the subject of trauma, it's not always aware that trauma is going on, what he is going through of it. And even later on, when someone needs to being aware of that to maybe deal with this kind of trauma, it's not always very clear. So I think that it's very important that, for example, it was very important in Bosnian society to make awareness of that, and then we decide actually to break these boundaries and the walls in between traumatized the groups. Like, for example, conflict was very clear here. You had three ethnic groups fighting each other, each against other one, and then later on, after the war, there was many stupid organizations trying to bring peace, like, okay, you were fighting each other. This is this very stupid approach of usually international community. Now let's gather you in one symposium to talk about how to overcome your conflict. And what is the problem there? The problem is that immediately when you invite someone to overcome a conflict in between, in that moment you put a wall between them. So my conclusion was that most of those symposiums, most of those meetings, peace camps, and so were like money laundry. The international community had this responsibility and impotence that they didn't prevent a crime happening at the edge of the Europe. So now afterwards, let's even make this like softer, give them some money, clean our conscience, and everything is okay. So, as a conclusion of this mistaken approach to resolve the differences between traumatized societies and also individuals inside those societies, this association, UDAS, and we agreed to organize one happening where we will invite disabled people to have a workshop. But we didn't, by inviting them, we didn't told them that the other, let's say other nation will come. So actually the tension of them was their focus said mostly on that they need to create the artwork. First time someone gave them opportunity to being artists, we told them that we will exhibit those works. So they started to think, oh my God, someone give us opportunity to being artists. This important art. We will exhibit in a gallery. There will be media, so on. So nobody talked about that the other person, also the disabled person will be there from the other ethnic group. So actually, it was our goal to come unconsciously from the back to try to dissolve the problem and to make a process of resocialization on this unconscious approach. So what happened? The happening should take place for about 4 days, and 12 of them were participating. First 2 days, they spent all materials what we prepared, all canvases on that. So this a lot of energy was sublimed through those objects what they did. And unconsciously, during the process of creation, they started to talk, chat with the other ones. So nobody was talking about anything, but also not pretending that there are some others. But it was important to create something good because we have opportunity to being artists. And there we were using art and culture as a power because they wanted to be part of that power. Actually, we gave them opportunity to be part of the art. And what happened, they did this 4 days sculpturing. At the end, even they, in a conversation, conclude that they were on the front lines at the same places, but just from the other side, you know. So it was not pushing the trauma down. It was slowly like talking and sharing these moments. And what was the maybe most important at the end, because that this was what I'm talking about, individual meeting. But the more bigger effect was through the media. We had partners to cover all this. And when the people, regular people in the society, saw on the TV or they read in the newspapers that the guys who lost body parts fighting each other, they did this happening very well. They produced something. It was really interesting to watch that. They said, why can we do that? So at the end, this looks as on one positivistic, humanistic approach of artists, but also from the other side, in a way of organizing this. When I made a project and I proposed it to the couple of ministries, to the city, to some organizations, no one wanted to participate. Everyone was scared, you know, there will be conflict, you cannot gather traumatized people, they can kill each other, you know, they lost body parts fighting each other, and immediately they rejected me. At the end, after this happening, we find out 1 year after that for this project, we got recognition in United Nations for the best project of resocialization of the people who pass collective trauma. And after that, everyone wanted to support the project. Everyone was calling us, we will give you the money. You know, for me as an artist, it was important to start this idea. I offered the matrix for dissolving the problem in a society. And then I left this project happening in Balkana to the Organization of Disabled People. And after this, 2005, they organize it every year. And it's actually continued to work. Every year they invite the people with the same experience, traumatized people from the different regions, from Kosovo, from Albania, from Macedonia, Serbia, and so on and so on. So this was one of the projects dealing with this issue of the individual and collective trauma.
Okay, thank you. I think that it would be very much interesting to hear about what do you think of art? What is art made of, and even the role of art, even the social role of art. Because before we were discussing your upcoming participation to Budapest of Biennial, and we were saying that these are much politically engaged biennial, and it's the first edition, and that you have some particular projects. So I would like to ask a more general question. What do you think of art? What is art for? What is its social role? And yeah.
Yeah, but first, I don't want to make a myth about art. I think that art, yeah, we all always agree, yes, art has important role, art has a power, and so on and so on. But my question is, show me this power. I mean, where is the power of art? If we talk about it, that sounds very nice. I like it. You know, it's good for your ears. But it's not nice for your eyes when you go out from your apartment or from the museum and the gallery where you are talking about it. And actually, maybe the biggest question, it should be how art can affect reality, or is it needed to affect it? I think that it can affect the reality, and actually I'm always trying to do that in my art. Somehow it needs to change it. It needs to find some hole through which he or she will change reality by using the art. First, the artist has a power starting from one basic point, that he or she can actually transform all this, what's happening around him, into the artifacts. So all political issues, social one, religious one, artistic problems, it has a power to transform them into the artifacts. And artifacts are usually, we are representing in the form and in the field of culture as something what we trust and we believe. The notion of the public appearance of the artist is the notion of the power. People, when they go to museum, they trust to that, mostly what they see there. So there is, in that point, responsibility of artists. For example, maybe on the basic of one work, I tried to change this reality in the process of making art. That was a film about a professor when I decided to arrest him, and when actually I was more capable to convince the real police forces to arrest him. Because I told them that this is a film about my professor, occasion of his 30 years of the career, and they said, okay, it's about art, no problem. You will get a special unit force, no problem. We go there, we put him on the ground, we arrest him. Beautiful, we will make a nice movie. We block the streets in the center. It's because of art, that no problem. But actually, there is a real pragmatical and practical proof of artist power, because art is something that we trust. And in this case, I get and I had much capabilities to convince to gut this police. Maybe this guy, it's not my professor. Maybe at the end they discovered that it's not the artist, that I hate him. But at the moment, at the end, it's done. You got it. So the art for me today, it's not something romanticized, like living in some way of the basement, painting a nice painting, and then you are discovered by half idiot and proclaimed to the genius. So still, I need to admit, in many cases, many educational institutions, we are producing that kind of artist. But also, we have this second line, like Ješa de Negri called it in Yugoslavia, second line of this critical approach, which is all the time not only capturing reality and representing it, but also it changes it in a moment of creation.